Today we're going to be talking about this dollar store comic book called Final Faction, and we're going to be comparing it and contrasting it to Isom in the Rippaverse. And at the same time, it really pains me to do this. I didn't want to have to do it, but I'm left with no choice. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to have a clip for this claim, and I know it would have been a great way to start the video, but something Ethan Van Sciver has said, and he's, a comic artist who's been, really instrumental in helping me grow, hit 1,000 subs, and a lot of you guys, came from him. But I do have to denounce him right now. Okay, well, maybe not denounce him, but denounce something he said. He has frequently compared the Rippaverse characters to dollar store characters. And I'm going to have to denounce that statement. That is false, patently false. And I'm going to prove to you why. And so make sure to stick to the end of the video so you can see. It's going to be a bit of a journey. But anyway, buckle up and get ready. Now, you might be wondering exactly what this story Final Faction is. I mean, just looking at the cover, you'd probably assume it's a G.I. Joe ripoff. And if that's what you think, you're totally wrong, because it's ripping off a lot more than just G.I. Joe. Even if you just look at some of these alien designs, you can clearly see that was very heavily inspired from Halo. I got this actually over a year ago now, and it took me a long time to open it just because I was planning on making a review video, but I didn't really know when I would do that. And then one day I was on a live stream with a few, of my internet buddies, Tiso Spencer and Jessica James on Cap Turtle, and we started talking about Final Faction, and I realized that, Super Tiso was unironically a huge fan of the comic. And that actually made me decide, to have them all come back, and, we would review the comic and some of the animations that were made. And, honestly, Final Faction is, strange as this might sound, but this dollar store comic is something, that I could talk about for hours. And I have, on live streams with, not just me, but other people. Like, it is actually genuinely interesting. That being said, it is a little tacky, and, we'll dive into that. But let me talk about, what makes this story so great. The inciting incident was really explosive, literally. A giant meteorite came and hit the moon. And you see, the moon actually isn't really a moon per se. It's secretly this mothership of the species of aliens that had been hibernating inside it for a long time. And they were, planning on strapping the Earth of its resources. For some reason, they decided, to wait till humanity was very technologically advanced and evolved. That was a very smart idea on their part. But anyway, I think there actually was an explanation for that. And, the main character right here, John Steadfast is his name, and he ends up fighting against these aliens, and, they're obviously too powerful for him. He puts up a good fight, but, he wasn't enough. He ends up becoming severely crippled, losing an arm, becoming cybernetically enhanced. And one of my favorite things, too, is his Chihuahua, Churro, who ends up going inside this cybernetic suit and just becoming this hound of death. It's really incredible to see. And it's funny also when you watch the animation because, he adds like a lot of pep and energy, and he's, just kind of a fun character. The character's physical designs stand alone, and so that actually, makes it so people want to collect the action figures. One of the things I love about the comic book, too, is you can actually understand it without reading it. You can just sequentially look at the pictures, and you'll understand what's happening from the beginning to the end. Now, to keep it 100 with you guys, I'd actually probably just recommend you to only look at the pictures anyway, because the dialogue is really cringeworthy, and, that's fine, because this is made for little kids. I just want to emphasize again, how important it was that the creative team made a story that could be understood solely with the pictures, as many of the readers might actually not even know how to read yet. So kudos to Chris and Toby for creating a story that's genuinely interesting to all ages, but more importantly, could be understood by the littlest amongst us. Now let's take a quick moment to compare the two inciting incidents in the story of Isom and also of Final Faction, the dollar store comic. Let me know which one you think is better. Here we go. So comparing this meteor crashing and hitting the moon to the first page we see in Isom, which is actually just a splash page of people walking down the street. And then, the next thing that ends up happening is there's basically like a Skype call. And then after that, that continues on for a few pages. You see someone's, farm and his water tower. And then you see that he's exercising. He's punching a punching bag. So I guess punching a punching bag is kind of cool, but not really. Like, it'd be cooler to see him, punching somebody. But then it goes to another page of a phone call. You can just see what I'm saying, though. And then he takes a shower, and his employee is, like, right next to him while he's taking the shower, right by the door, which is a little weird. And he's also on his laptop, and, like, his boss comes, and he's looking over his shoulder. That looks a little weird. I'm not exactly sure what he's doing on his computer. I don't know if I want to know, why are you waiting outside of your boss's bathroom with your laptop open, looking deviously over your shoulders like that. Anyway, this is up to, how many pages are we on? 1, 2, 3,
5, 6, 7, 8.
And then it takes us to get to page 8 before you actually see any action. And you see, unrelated characters fighting, and you don't really quite understand how they belong in the story. It does feel a little generic. Now, if you're someone who is a fan of the Rippaverse, maybe you think it's cool because you're like, oh, yay, I'm getting all these extra characters. But, I don't know. I guess what my point is, you can go through how in this story, in just the first 8 pages, you only barely have one fight happening. And then by the time you get to 8 pages of Final Faction, you have an alien invasion, a meteorite hitting the moon. You have some guy fighting an alien and then getting crippled by one. In the first 8 pages, that's everything you get with Final Faction. So it's definitely, I would say, a lot more bang for your buck, especially when you're considering, that this was only $1.25, whereas Isom cost you $35. And then page 7, he's just walking. So for the first 7 pages, all we're actually getting is walking and phone calls. That's all you get. That would be in the standard comic book almost a third of the entire story. And we aren't really getting any significant details about the characters. We don't understand any traumas, any struggles, what motivates these people, what are they afraid of, what do they most desire. That's all missing. Whereas in the first 7 pages of Final Faction, we see a giant meteorite hit the moon, we see aliens attack the Earth, and seriously maim a man in a very intense fight. And this also brings me to another point. Recently, I made a video about Drunk 3PO and his book for kids, which was about this little black girl who finds the color green, and then now she can see colors and stuff, and, nobody really likes her, and I guess this is made for children or something. And then the title's called Achromatic Chronicles Green. If I was a little boy, 6 years old, what would I rather read? A title which I can't even pronounce about a black girl who learns about the color green, or about an alien invasion and a group of super soldiers who try and save humanity? Also, too, when you compare the inciting incidents of Isom, which is him basically receiving a phone call from his sister, and then his sister saying, someone that your mom knows is worried about her daughter. She went missing after she started working with your former high school rival, Darren. Now, this could have just received a few changes to become more impactful. First off, people talking on the phone actually adds a barrier of separation. It makes it less emotionally impactful because these people now are, distanced from each other. Just think about it. Would you ever ask someone to marry you over the phone? Would you ever break up with someone over the phone? Okay, you might actually do that because you want there to be an emotional distance, but you understand, right? Talking to someone in person is a lot more dynamic and interesting, and again, emotionally impactful. So there's already one barrier made by there being a phone call, and then there's another barrier because it's like his sister isn't saying that it's someone she wants to see, it isn't her best friend, it's someone that her mom knows, and it's not even because of her mom, it's because of someone her mom knows who's worried about, right? So that's like, let's see, the phone is one barrier of separation, the sister's another, then the mom's another, and then the mom's friend is another, and then there's finally the girl. So that's 5 degrees of separation between the main character and the person he's supposed to be rescuing, which again makes it a lot more bogged down and way less emotionally impactful. So what you should do is you should either make this person basically a person of interest to Isom, maybe have made it his sister or his niece or his cousin, or even better yet, like his love interest, right? That would actually probably make it more interesting. Now, my point is that, you compare that inciting incident, receiving a phone call about somebody who somebody knows who's missing, right? Does that sound more interesting, or a meteorite hitting the Earth and awakening a race of aliens who are going to conquer it? Which thing would be more appealing to you? Now, if you look here, for example, this character Yaira, who's wearing her yoga pants and her ugly white sweater, she looks like she's just a soccer mom, or maybe some lady who just came from her CrossFit class. Who would you rather buy an action figure of if you're a kid? Would you rather buy of Yaira, the soccer mom in her yoga pants? Or would you rather buy Shift, who's got a sword, she's got this katana, this red outfit that actually pops out, visually. which one to you looks more interesting? And I don't even think that Shift is all that interesting of a character, especially if, you compare her to, Steadfast, who's got the robot arm, or if you compare her to, the guy who's flying, or to Churro, who's, inside the mech suit, and it's like this little chihuahua who becomes, this hound of death. Which one would you rather have if you're a kid? And so again, this kind of goes back, I could talk more about this, if you guys are more interested, to hear more comparisons about why I think that, Final Faction isn't just better, like on a marginal level, but it just blows Isom out of the water, especially when you consider that, one came with a cost of $1.25, and then, Isom came at the cost of $35, and you're still being given ads of, Etsy jewelry that you honestly would never end up buying. So I guess my question is, which of these two would you rather end up supporting? And to me, the answer is obvious, but some of you maybe do like Isom more, and let me know about why in the comment section. Make sure to throw in lots of insults. Maybe do what some of Eric July's biggest fans do, and put my head on a dog and have me licking peanut butter off of somebody's junk. That's kind of, I guess, the state of the Rippaverse fandom. And so maybe I shouldn't be too hard on these guys, because a lot of them have serious mental issues. But anyway, that's kind of, I guess, the subject of another video. So this is how I feel. I actually do kind of want to reemphasize, me disavowing what Ethan Van Sciver had previously said, that, the Rippaverse characters made by Eric July are dollar store characters, because he's defaming these characters with, very interesting character designs that are featured in, this very action-packed, dynamic story. So I just want to disavow Ethan, for saying that. Anyway, that's all I have to say. Let me know what you think in the comment section, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe, and I also have, some more videos over here that you might enjoy too. So anyway, see you around.